looking at the number of young people who are on site this evening shows you how incredible work the foundation is doing with young people. When you come to the foundation, it's not just about football. One thing that's special about this foundation, the charity I support, is that the number of young people that come in here, because we are looking at getting them into sports and also getting them into employment.
We want to get out to all the people in Brent. We want them to come to our college, obviously it's a local college, and we want to grow apprenticeships. There's a lot of work going on around apprenticeships in Brent at the moment. You've got Wembley Park, there's a development going on down there with a Section 106 attached to it, which means the developer is obligated to take on people from the local community in terms of apprenticeships and local labour.
Football is there as a sport, some of them might make it professional. I think you always need something to fall back on. Construction provides a number of different opportunities, pathways, career routes. You're allowed to sort of go into one line of construction and then change later on down the line. You're not restricted by anything.
I work predominantly promoting the apprenticeship scheme, Level 3 Engineering, which is a 3-year apprenticeship programme. But Network Rail doesn't just offer roles in engineering, there are roles in HR, office support, finance, there are roles in everything really. IT. It's such a vast business. Opportunities all over Britain.
It's a job. It's helping the community. It's varied.
So if you don't want an office job, it's a great job colleagues to do. Just the best job ever.
That's the Jason Roberts Foundation. Everyone's not going to be footballers. And obviously you need a plan B, as they say, and they're given an opportunity to speak to different industries.
There's a small percentage that will obviously get to having a career in football. So plan B is very necessary.
Making the right choices. That's what's really important in life. In life, you just face with choices. Option A, option B. You got to choose the right one. That's what it is for me.
We've got lots of youngsters here. We had the mayor, we had the fire brigade, Network Rail. There are many opportunities for you. If you want to take opportunities, they're there to be taken. So my thing is, go out there, be proud to be yourself,
following the crowd,
and stay safe, stay out of trouble, stay out of danger.
Stay in the books. Stay in the books. Because at the end of the day, the books aren't going. Will come and go. The books are here to
Plan
stay.
B for me, I probably think railway, my brother's into it as well, so I probably follow his footsteps. Because the railway, I feel like I'll succeed. Maybe I'll try to be like a lawyer or something. It's an event where everyone can come down together. We can play football as a community. I feel like everyone comes together like as a big family. I feel like Otis is giving us very big opportunities.
The number required apprenticeship, required jobs. This is why every day I am out there in the community. Again, with my charity, Jesse Roberts Foundation. Who are incredibly working with young people. We want them to get out there and embrace the opportunity that we have embraced. So please. Say my special thanks to the foundation for doing the great job they are doing here, bringing us together. Let's use the opportunity. Let's get around do the right.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Jason Roberts Foundation Careers Fair. I'm Jo Tung, a trustee of the foundation, and I've worked with the JRF for nearly 10 years now. In my other life, I run a sports agency and production company, but it's not what I ever thought I'd be doing, nor actually what I wanted to do when I had my heart set on being a football referee aged 16, or even a lorry driver when I was about 6. I genuinely thought it would let me see the world, and that was my way to travel the world. I don't know about you, but this year has definitely offered me a lot of time to think, reflect, and focus on what's really important to me. For lots of us, that's meant taking a look at our jobs and our career, where we are, where we want to be, where we thought we might be. And so here at the Jason Roberts Foundation, we wanted to offer you the chance to hear from some stellar companies to inform you, stimulate your thought process around your current career, and hopefully inspire you a bit. So during the next hour, do listen to our amazing panel and have a think about your goals for 2021. You might be interested in getting your first job, retaining or changing your career path, or just looking at what new opportunities might be out there that you'd never have thought of. Hopefully we can reassure you that you do have options, whichever stage of your career you're at. So let's get going. In the next hour, we're going to hear from some amazing companies. We're joined by the RAF, Network Rail, St George Developers, UCFB, and Brent Works. A real variety of industries, so I'm sure there'll be something for everyone. All I ask is that you come with an open mind. And as I said, when I was younger, I wanted to be a football referee or a lorry driver. I now run a TV and production company and a sports agency via a job at McDonald's. You just sometimes never realise where opportunity lies. So open ears, open minds. And if you want to ask any questions, pop them in the chat box and there'll be time after each speaker and I'll be sure to ask those questions on your behalf. So we've got 5 speakers. Sit with us for the next hour. After each speaker, I'll try and make some time for your questions. So while you're listening to each presentation, do pop any questions in that chat box and we'll try and get round to them. Our first speaker is Sergeant Siobhan Bramley. Siobhan is a specialist recruiter and engager and has worked for the RAF for over 10 years. While Sergeant is presenting, as I said, pop your comments in the side and we'll come back at the end of her presentation and see if we can address your comments. Over to you, Siobhan.
Thank you, Joanne. Hello, everybody. My name is Sergeant Siobhan Bramley, and I've been in the Air Force for quite a while now. I started off, my main job actually is a weapons technician, but I wanted to talk to you today about some of the opportunities and answer a few questions that you might have about the RAF. So I'm just going to pop some slides up for you. Okay, so we're going to run through some roles, qualifications, the training, pay, some benefits, and where you can find out more. A lot of people are quite surprised to know there's over 60 different types of roles in the Air Force, whether you're interested in helping people, fixing things, transport, travel, computing. To be honest, the list is fairly endless and it's definitely worth having a look at. We're not all just pilots. A lot of people are quite surprised to know that 6 of our roles actually require no formal qualifications whatsoever. We will, however, put you through your foundation skills in English and maths free of charge. Qualifications for the different roles go all the way to degree and beyond. It really just depends on what you'd like to do. So everybody gets trained in the military and in the RAF. If you're going for a non-commissioned branch, then that's 10 weeks training at a place called Halton. If you're doing a commission branch, then that's 24 weeks, and that's at a place called RAF Cranwell. Your specialist training really will depend on the type of role that you take. That can last anything from 6 weeks to over a year, and that's why they average out at about 8 months. But at the end of that training, if you pass, you've got a guaranteed job at the end of it, and not a lot of jobs offer that, especially as over 22 of our roles are apprenticeships, all that come with a job at the end. Pay, something that everybody's interested in. If you go for one of the non-commissioned ranks during training, so from day 1 of training, your wages will start on £15,670 a year plus your benefits. And then after training, that will rise to 20,000 plus. If you come in at one of our officer roles, for which you need 2 A levels as well as GCSEs and above, depending on what you do, during training, £27,000 plus, and after training, 31,800, which is pretty competitive. The benefits that I mentioned briefly there: subsidised accommodation. Accommodation costs for a single room can be as little as £170 a month, which certainly compares with Civvy Street. Food is subsidised, opportunity to do sports for free, there's discounts, bonuses, the list goes on. And I can answer some questions about that if you have any. This is some examples of some of the sports types of things that people have got involved with, all while being in the RAF, not using any of their leave. So what do we want from people? Some flexibility, some enthusiasm, an appetite to learn. It's not about what you already know, but what we can teach you. We're not expecting you to already know how to fix an aircraft or service an electrical piece of equipment. We will teach you all about it, providing you have the ambition and you're a team player. You can find out more on our website, and I'll post that information up later for you. Okay, so that's just a few bits there for you. Now, I've got a nice little video that I'd like to play. It answers a lot of the myth-busting questions. A lot of people are quite surprised to know that in the RAF I've got children and I'm married and all sorts of different things. So hopefully this will answer a few questions that you might have.
Do you find it scary?
I don't find it scary. You iron your socks?
I used to, not anymore. What's the food like? Can I have tattoos?
Oh yes, definitely. You can have tattoos.
None on your face or your hands, anything that would be visible during a parade or anything like that.
Do you have to polish everything?
Let me have a look at my shoes.
Yeah.
You have to polish your boots now and then, and your parade shoes, make sure they're balled up, nice and shiny.
Just keeping things tidy and smart.
Do you have to iron everything? Do you iron your socks?
No. You iron your socks?
I used to, not anymore.
Really? Well.
What do they call it again when you had to do the thing at the bottom of your bed? The
bed pack.
Bed pack. That appearance, looking tidy. We're in the military at the end of the day, so it's all about being smart, looking smart and presentable.
Am I allowed a beard? Yes. Yes.
Is that on your face?
Yeah.
Is all the accommodation mixed? No. No, not that I'm aware. It depends where you get based.
So ones where it's shared ablutions, obviously, boys block, girls block.
Absolutely.
So in my corridor, I've got male, female, you know, I've got the whole lot. But
the en-suite rooms, everyone's in the same block.
Can you get married if you can find someone who wants to marry you? Ooh. But yeah, yes, you can get married. You can get married. If you want to get married. If you don't.
Do you have to march everywhere? After training, probably the only time you get to march is when you're on parade. Yeah.
And when you've passed out your training, no, there's no matching everywhere. Do I have to shave my hair off?
That was one of the worst bits for me. First day at Alton, getting my grade 2 all over.
Obviously, if you have religious reasons, such as myself, no, you don't have to shave your hair off.
Again, it's all down to personal preference. Once you leave training.
I'm female. If you want to shave your hair off, you're more than welcome to.
I don't know, you felt about that. Did you get yours shaved off?
Yeah, it grew back really good. No, I'm joking. Can you go home? I go home every weekend.
I go home every weekend.
Pretty much every weekend.
There's no real restriction unless you're on, a necessary deployment out of area.
Do you have to give up your religion?
Absolutely not.
No.
RAF supports, different cultures and the communities that we represent.
Personally, I'm not religious, so it wasn't an issue for me.
It's up to you.
Every religion supported in the RAF.
We've pretty much got everything.
I'm Catholic myself, and I think the Airforce will always support all official religious days.
How often do you deploy or travel?
If you're working with the RAF Regiment, you're going to consistently deploy on exercises.
I do sports in the RAF, or I just go on courses, and I travel all the time with them, and that's personal preference.
Do you fly a plane? No, I'm not a pilot. Pilots do that.
That's probably the biggest question that I get given when I'm telling people what I do for a living. So you're a pilot?
We're in the tower, so.
Yeah. So we're just involved in setting the weather up for the day.
Can you wear makeup?
Yes.
Do you need to be super fit to join?
I wouldn't say super fit. You've got to have a decent level of fitness to pass the fitness test, keep up with all the training that you're doing.
Yeah, everybody has a stigma of thinking that we're all hench and massive, but we're not.
No, we have different body shapes and sizes in it.
So it's a case of you have to know your own ability, you have to know what's required of you, but super fit, no, not at all.
Do you have to work with Army? If so, what are they like?
So yes, you could end up in situations where there are Army personnel working alongside RAF personnel.
It's like with the admin side, we're trying to work with the Army more. But I went through training with the Army, and it's quite fun. You get to see their side of training and how they operate in an admin cell, which is quite different to ours, but you meet in the middle and work things out anyway. But I enjoyed it when I went through training. Can women apply to the same roles as men?
Yes, as of now, women can apply for all trades, including frontline infantry.
Yeah.
Can I join as an RAF officer without a university degree?
Yeah, you can. So you can join with A levels. However, if you join already and you're a current serving member, you can join with the relevant GCSEs that you've got.
What RAF jobs are the best?
I am probably biased, but I love being a technician.
I work in admin, so I quite like my job because it's very flexible. I work a 8 to 5 job from Monday to Friday, so that's the benefits of my trade.
Interesting fixing things then.
Mechanic, but it just depends where your job set or skill set lies. So it's completely individual based.
It's quite a personal question for yourself.
The whole organisation is just like a car. Every part needs another part to be able to function.
What is your top tip for basic training?
Try and keep your head down and get stuck in.
Top tip is make friends and help each other out, and probably work as a team as much as you can, because you are not going to get through basic training on your own.
Okay, so I really hope that's answered a few questions for you. And if you've got any more questions, please do ask. Thank you very much for listening. Back to you, Joanna.
Thanks, Siobhan. I thought that was so fascinating. And why didn't you tell me that I could be in the RAF? I didn't have to be the lorry driver to travel. I don't like planes. So I was like, oh no, I can't do the RAF.
We actually take people all the way up to age 49. And for some roles, that even changes to go even further. So it's never too late for anybody.
Oh, that's amazing. I've got a couple of questions quickly. Jack asked, is there an age limit when you consider joining? I know you said, obviously, I can still join, even when I'm 48. I'm not quite 48 yet, but I can still join.
So that upper age limit, as I said, is 49 for regulars. If you want to come in as a reservist and commit 27 days a year, then that age limit is 55. But there are 1 or 2 roles, for example, doctor, where that's slightly different. Roles start at 16. So you can actually start the application process with your parents' permission from 15 and 9 months, and you need your parents' permission until you turn age 18.
Great, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Jack. Sharon's asked for where you can find more information about the RAF. Is that the raf.mod.uk/recruitment?
That's exactly it. So have a look on there. Also have a look at some of the videos. If you put No Ordinary Job into YouTube, we've got some great little videos on there, so you can get a little bit of information on there. And also events like this are brilliant. You can always find out more information.
Great, thank you. And Sharon, we'll obviously be posting throughout the next week. We'll do a rerun of this, and we'll be posting content from all of our contributors. So do keep an eye across our socials. So Jason Roberts Foundation website and our socials. And as Siobhan said, the RAF website and also their YouTube channels. Thank you so much. That was absolutely fascinating. Really appreciate that. So our next guest is Buklaka Barrett-Sutmari from Network Rail. And Buklaka looks after university engagement for our graduate scheme. She also runs skills sessions where she helps students prepare for their applications and interviews. So I think Buklaka is going to be really useful to listen to, whatever stage in your career you're at. Buklaka, over to you.
Thank you, Joe. So really great to be here. So welcome, everyone. And let me just share my screen real quick so I can show you the presentation as well. So hopefully it's up and running now. So yeah, I am from Network Rail, I work as a talent acquisition specialist. I usually work on the graduate side of things, but from time to time, such as these presentations, I get involved with apprentice opportunities as well and promoting it. And then hopefully you find it helpful, and we'll clarify a couple of questions for you. As Joe mentioned before, obviously these are a bit trialing times to figure out and to find the right career path for you. So attending these sessions is even more important. So pass along the word to your friends as well, and then make sure that they hear about these sessions and they can sign up, and they hopefully they find it helpful as well. So what do we offer at Network Rail when it comes to apprentice opportunities? So we work in the rail industry, as you can imagine. So today is the first of 3 webinars designed to tell you all about what a career in rail has to offer apprentices. So ranging from what we do in rail and the impact we have on passengers, career path, exciting projects, and what's life like in our team. So you'll hear about Network Rail's culture, what is our vision for the next 5 to 10 years, and what's important when it comes to company culture as well, and what are the different career paths that we can or you can take. So, and we can show you around. So who is Network Rail? A little bit of introduction about Network Rail, because sometimes there are a little bit of misconception. There is a little bit of misconception of who we are and what we do. So we don't look after the trains. We don't run the trains. We look after and operate the infrastructure when it comes to the railway, such as 20,000 miles of tracks, 30,000 bridges, tunnels, and viaducts, stations, different lengths that belongs to Network Rail, and they are all around the track. So we need to look after those as well and make sure that everything is safe. So this is the fastest growing, safest railway in Europe. So as you can imagine, on a daily basis, we help passengers get from A to B. And it would be on a busy day, 4.5 million passengers a day. So obviously currently services are reduced, but once life is back to normal, it would be 4.5 million passengers a day. So we do have to make sure that safety is at the heart of everything that we do. So we are a huge organization, and we're getting bigger every year. So 44,000 employees nationwide. And everything is so interlinked, as you can imagine. It's not just tracks that are interlinked, but every single department function in the business. We have to breathe at the same time, and we have to make sure that everything is coordinated. So it can be challenging, but in a good way. It's so rewarding end of the day that you can go home and think about the differences that you made in someone's life. They could, just because as an apprentice or as an engineer, you fixed the track, you fixed the signaling box, you fixed an overhead line, and someone could get to see their family, or someone could get to an important meeting that was maybe a life-changing meeting for them, setting up a business or finishing or closing a big deal. So there's a lot of positive things that you can add to some of the passengers' life and whoever gets involved with Network Rail. So we have over 3,050 types of roles across maintenance, options, and operations, engineering, and professional services. So a lot of different engineering projects that you can get involved with, and it's never the same. So you won't have one day that it would be the same or doing the same thing all over again. So a lot of diversity around the jobs that you can get involved with. We help hundreds of apprentices start their careers every year. Just as an interesting fact, For example, our CEO, Andrew Haynes, he started as an apprentice, and now he's the CEO of the company. So obviously it didn't happen overnight. So a lot of hard work went into that, and decades of hard work. And then here he is working for Network Rail as a CEO. So what I'm saying here is that opportunities are endless. So it's all up to you, as long as you're willing to learn, as long as you're willing to put yourself forward to different projects and want to progress, you can progress, and the sky is the limit, really. So we got locations all over the UK. We give you the support and training to learn and grow in your career. There is always a line manager who looks after you. There is a nice buddy system where you can ask your peers for help or reflection or mentoring, someone mentoring you, so your line manager and you will set up a personal development plan with regards to your career, and then they will be able to help you to get onto different projects once you completed your apprenticeship scheme, and they will be able to help you to get the relevant skill set, knowledge for your career progression. So that's very positive about the company culture. Obviously, diversity and inclusion is very important for us, so we take that very seriously, and we support everyone joining the business, because we want to reflect the customers who we serve, which would be the whole nation. So where to next? So there will be different topics that I'm gonna go through and give you a little bit more insight. So what's involved in running the railway? We operate and maintain the infrastructure of the railway. This goes for far beyond just fixing tracks. We manage signals, bridges, power supplies, security stations, and more. Like, for example, our engineers get involved with the environment and sustainability team to make sure that all of our engineering projects are environmentally friendly and sustainable. We have a very ambitious goal to reduce CO2 emission to zero by 2050. So that's 30 years down the road. So whatever you do around these projects, it will have an impact for the next 3 decades and even further. So if you look at the bigger picture, there is a very rewarding career in engineering and at Network Rail when it comes to making a difference. So some of our team are on the front line, improving journeys, identifying faults, fixing them, or responding to emergencies. We are well organized and effective business that works together. Our people in engineering and professional services play a vital role, keeping us effective and profitable now and for years to come. Every single person in our team plays a vital role in ensuring that we keep people safe and deliver great customer service. So how do we put passengers first? As I mentioned, we have a new CEO, Andrew Haynes. So for a couple of years he left Network Rail, and then he came back as a CEO about a year and a half ago, and he had this vision to put passengers first. What does that mean, really? We are recently changed from an infrastructure business to a customer-led business. So customer care and customer-focused approach is at the heart of everything that we do, alongside with safety. So our core purpose is to get millions of passengers to where they are going safely, as I mentioned before. So if you ever apply for Network Rail, just read our safety vision document. That will give you a good indication about our safety measures and how we approach being safe every day. We use technology to avoid delays, avoid disruption, and keep services moving. So, for example, if there is a fault, we would on the tracks, we would use different drones, so cutting edge technology to make sure that we can fix those faults as quickly as possible and safely as possible. We design and build modern stations with friendly, accessible environments. So, for example, if you've been to King's Cross Station, you can see all the developments that there are shops now. There are different restaurants. There is a very friendly customer service environment that it's not just you're catching your train, but it gives you a different experience passing through the stations. So most of the stations have that approach. Another interesting approach would be the Bristol station, where you have everything running on renewable energy. So that's something very interesting, and that's something that we would like to take forward as well. So value the vital role all our play in every area of the business. We are not here to line someone's pockets, where we are here to help people. By using your expertise in rail, you'll do meaningful work every day, helping keep businesses moving, keep supermarkets stocked, and get parents from home for bedtime. So as you can imagine, even during the pandemic, we have to make sure that everything works according to plan. Although the services for passengers have been reduced, for example, freight users, freight trains, to get goods and get medical equipments to the right place, they have to be in place and they have to work according to plan to make sure that we can help people get better, who's fighting COVID, all the hospitals that we can help. So that's something that's it's not just taking passengers from A to B. There is so much more to the company that we have to make sure that works efficiently and up to standard. So where a career in rail can take you. As we said earlier, we have over 3,500 types of roles across maintenance, operations, engineering, and professional services. Whichever area you choose, we'll pay for all your training, and you'll earn as you learn, as you develop in your career. Operations and maintenance role have a very clear career path. You'll move up through the levels and become an invaluable expert. If you want to become an engineer, you choose a discipline that will support you and train you on your way to becoming chartered. Working in professional services can give you the chance to try out different areas of the business until you find your niche. Joining an organization with the size, scale, and ambition of Network Rail means there is no limit to how far you can go. So I gave you that example previously. So how rail is growing every year. Since the 1990s, passengers numbers have doubled, and this is still growing. So as I mentioned, 4.5 million passengers a day on a regular day, on a normal day where trains are running up to full service. The rail industry is responsible for putting billions of pounds into the economy. Our role is to supply chain support over 216,000 jobs. So new technologies create opportunities for us to serve more passengers. Businesses rely on both our passengers and freight services to operate. We are creating a greener economy. Each freight train takes 76 AGVs off the road. How nice is that? If you're looking for a long-term career with an organization that will be with you for decades to come, Network Rail is a great choice. For projects we have delivered. So another thing, that if you apply for Network Rail or you interview for Network Rail, these are the things that you would want to be familiar with. So all the projects that we're doing and what is our vision for the next 5 to 10 years. So, for example, as I mentioned, King's Cross project, as I mentioned, the environmental and sustainability projects that we have. So many different things that you can get involved with. So what is it like? So what is the residential training like? What is the typical day like? What do you love most about your job? So these are the questions that you can ask me at the end of the presentation. What are the people like? What's surprised you the most since joining? So just to find out about more. at the company. So this will be my little presentation for you. So I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to ask me any questions that you might have with regards Network Rail.
Thank you so much for learning. I've got a couple of questions for you. I was really interested to hear about your chief exec who was an apprentice. That's amazing, and actually it shows what a good employer you must be if you're retaining staff like that. But Jack's asked, if you're on the apprentice scheme, are you then guaranteed a job?
Yes. So what happens that once the apprentices finish the scheme, then they will need to apply for a job. However, I haven't heard of one apprentice who applied and didn't get a job. So it's not like, here is your degree, you finished your scheme and this is your job sort of thing. You have to go through the application process. My biggest advice, when you're on the scheme, just make sure that you're networking with people from the company, managers, colleagues, so they know you, they know your skills, they know what you stand for, they know who you are. And when it comes to applying for jobs, it will be that much easier to land the job, because you're not starting from scratch, or this is my name, this is what I have done, They will be familiar with you and as a colleague, as a person, and it will make it that much easier to apply for a job and land the job.
I think that's such great advice about networking. I think when we're younger, we don't realise the power of networking or how important it is. And something I always say to my team is there's always eyes on you. You might just be going around your normal job. You might just, I was a runner. I made cups of tea for TV presenters, but how I made that cup of tea was really important. Oh, my lights just hang on. I'm just going to wave my lights back on. Sorry.
It's okay. But I can totally agree with that. And then as you mentioned, Joe, like whatever life experiences a candidate has, it can be sports, it can be being part of a faculty or a group of students who run engineering projects or experiment or STEM subjects that you enjoy doing. So try to share those and make sure that the employer knows about it, because it just shows your character more. You come through as a genuine person, and then your authenticity, you're able to show that. And so for example, I used to be a professional tennis player, so you can build on that, like so many things that these projects or any interest that you have outside of school that shaped who you are. And just make sure that the employer knows about those as well, not just your skill sets. Okay, I have passed GCSEs to the highest degree and highest grades. That's great, but who are you? So that's essentially that's what employers would like to find out when you go through an application process.
I love that. Who are you? Because you're not just your job title. I really love that. Quick one before we move on to our next guest. Michael, who's watching, said, I was told you have apprenticeships for female engineers. Is that true, as my daughter's interested?
Absolutely true. So Network Rail, as I mentioned, diversity and inclusion is very important for Network Rail. So we don't look at backgrounds, gender, religion, racial. We don't look at that. All we look at is what can you bring to the company. So diversity and inclusion, as I mentioned, we're one of the few companies who have actually a diversity and inclusion head of, meaning that we have a separate function and department who looks after diversity and inclusion programs within the company. And we have managing director for that. So that's very nice to see. And for example, I'm from Hungary. No one has ever made me feel at the company that I'm from a different country. I was most welcomed, and they were interested in about my talent and what I can bring to the company and make the company better, and made lifelong friends at the company. So everyone is more than welcome to apply, regardless gender, race, religion, disability, sexual orientation. Everyone is welcome.
Amazing. There's a couple more questions, but what we're going to do is I'll get you to answer them in the private chat while we move on to our next guest. So if you've asked a question that we haven't managed to get around to answering, we will come round to you during the course of this evening. But I'm just going to move on to our next guest, who is from the University Campus of Football Business at UCFB, to those in the know. Jason Thomas joins us. Jason is the Regional Recruitment Manager for the South, and he's a key member of the Future Students team. Over to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Joanna, and hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Pleasure to be here and talk about careers in sport. I'll give you a bit of background to myself. Before I do that, actually, let me just load up my slides. It just may help a little bit more. So give me a second. Here we go. Really good to hear the last speakers, by the way. Really interesting. I have a friend that works in Network Rail, and yeah, loves his job, been there for 5 years, and I think he's gone on a lot of courses and they've trained him up and he loves what he does. And so I think that's the key message to everyone here. You know, find your way and love what you do. Find your passions and stuff like that. So really, really cool. And I've been to Hungary. I heard our last guest is Hungarian, so I've been there. So you say siesta, something like that in Hungarian, to try and be polite. Okay, so here we go. University Campus of Football Business. So let me just talk about universities first, because like me, I'm a former student of UCFB. And if you understand where I come from, like the state that I come from, the ends that I come from, like no one really goes to university. But it's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice because, you know, I wanted to be a good footballer and be a pro footballer like Jason Roberts, and it didn't quite work out that way. So how do you work with the team in another capacity? How do you be like their coach or their advisor, or, you know, how do you work with them in a media setting or a business setting, or how do you run their events or manage the stadiums that they play in? There's so many careers in sport, and there's not always a university access route into that. You know, I started off as an apprentice. You know, I'm an apprenticeship person that studied 6 years as an apprentice in sport, and I've got, you know, qualifications from that because I've been working full time. But it's not football. I was working in health clubs, working in gyms. It's great, but it's not football. So there's different routes. There's a lot more routes now than when I was probably a lot of your ages. So when I was like 18, 17, trying to figure out what I'm doing, there wasn't the same career fairs. There wasn't the same foundations or organizations coming out to speak to young people and parents. So really take these opportunities to understand that there's so many routes into it, and so many routes into football. And that's what we do. We provide degrees basically in football, studying in football stadiums. How unique is it to go into class every day and go into Wembley Stadium, walking up Wembley Way? You know, how many people were killed to go into Wembley just to visit or to go to a game, but you could be there for 3 years full time, access to like literally 40% of the stadium, work alongside the FA and Premier League clubs during your 3 years. So bit of a taste. And it's not just football. Like football's a pinnacle sport. It's the most popular sport in the world. Like 15 million people play football in this country every week, from pros to amateurs. So you know, if you're good at football in terms of what you do in terms of work, then you could probably transfer that to other sports. So do bear that in mind. Up on the screen, a few bits about myself. So you can see some circles. First one, I'm coaching some kids. That's what I like to do. I like to coach. The reason why I like coaching is because I get job satisfaction from that. So if you're thinking about a career, and maybe a career in sport, think about the one that you love to go to every day. When I go and coach, I don't feel like I'm working. I'm getting paid and I'm having a good day. When you've got a job like that, that's when you start to live. That's when you start to feel something different, and you love what you do. You don't even mind staying, you know, later. You'll come in extra early. You're impressed. You'll grow as a person. You'll learn a lot about yourself. But not only that, you're going to get promoted. You're going to get sent on courses, and that's what I love about sport and careers in these sectors, because it's so diverse and it's not a dead end kind of career. There's so many opportunities to grow into a career where, you know, you love what you do. And if you love what you do, you create ideas, and you never know, you might even have a business one day. So you can see me coaching here with the little kids. That's like QPR's community pre-match kind of setup next to Loftus Road, or the now Kyron Prince Foundation Stadium. Middle circle, that's me. So I'm also a football coach with some other like youth teams before, but here I'm actually coaching and warming up my team. I'm lucky enough to play at Wembley Stadium. I've never met no one that's played at Wembley, but the reason why I got the opportunity is because I went to study at UCFB, and the FA gave us the pitch for the day, and I got to play. I played twice on that pitch. That's me warming up my team. On the right-hand side, this is what I do with UCFB. I do partnerships. So I'm there with Andy Evans, head of QPR in the community, doing a lot of work with the team, because QPR is the closest professional club to Wembley Stadium. At UCFB, we have many of our students not just working at QPR, but other teams locally and around the UK. And another part of my job actually with UCFB is to go to schools and colleges. So if you look at like England, I manage the southern counties alongside my colleagues. So we get around, we drive around, and we speak to a lot of people and host a lot of events. So constantly moving, and you can see at the top there, Steady Match. That's a business that I've co-founded. I'm a director of a business. Again, I refer back to where I'm from. So I'm from Fulham. Fulham's a really nice area, but there's some not so good areas in Fulham, and I'm from the not so good area in Fulham. So you know, always growing up, loving where you're from, but you know, really testing time. So for me to think where I've come from, to know what I've become, you know, I'm proud, but I'm always trying to still do things and share what I've done, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. You know, I'm not good at maths, I hate reading, but I still got a degree. I still I'm a director of my business. I coach many sports. I'm also a swim coach as well, a private health club. So yeah, a lot going on. All right, moving forward. So why UCFB? Why would you consider going to UCFB? So why would you consider going to university to study? Well, first of all, to earn money. You know, we all study to grow, to get a better job, to become employable. But why not become employable in a sector that's worth a lot of money? So you can see here, our slide is showing that 600 to 700 billion dollars is the worth of the sports industry. So if we equivalent that to pounds, we're looking at 450 billion pounds. That's probably the UK spending budget, not currently because of COVID, but from previous years. That's a lot of money, and that grows every single year. There's always a growth spike within sport. You look at female sport recently, getting new investment, more televised events, more major sponsorships. You look at technology, you look at like the globalization, look at social media. There's so many jobs that get created in sport, and sport lead the way in other sectors to show these new jobs and a new way of doing it, and it creates money. So you can see here, you know, if you want a job, you really have to think what sector is actually growing, and can I be part of that growth? Can I get a slice of that cake? Why UCFB? So what I put here is a stat. I quite like this stat. So 26% of all people employed in Europe are from the UK. You have to understand there's a lot of people in Europe, over 300 million people in Europe, but you know, over a quarter of those employed in sport are from the UK. And what that shows us is the heritage. You know, we're coming from an environment, a country, a city that's rich in sport. You know, we founded a lot of the world's kind of like favorite and most popular sports, including football, cricket, rugby. You know, we have a heavy rip hand into the rules of, excuse me, tennis, Formula One as well, snooker, and also looking at darts. So you look at the top 10 sports, I mentioned about 6 of them, and a lot of the heritage comes from here. So I have friends in China, I have friends in America, and they say to me, when I coach and when I do my job, when they hear my accent, they hear I'm from the UK, I'm from England, straight away they look at me like they want to respect me or listen to me. And that's just because of where you come from. And you know, people need to carry that with them and see that as respect. So you still have to earn respect, but understand that if you're coming from a rich heritage of sport, you know, carry that with you and carry that with a sense of pride, and understand that you can walk into places where it may command a little bit more respect where you come from. But again, you may need to carry yourself the right way. But do understand the proud of. Why do we all want a career in sport? And what I put here is so you hear that scenes of the teams. So think about how many England teams there are. You know, from the under 21s to the under 18s to even the under 20s, under 17s, under 16s. This, what you see here is replicated at every level within the England national team, and probably within the Premier League as well. And you think about how many professional teams we have in the UK, 92 professional teams. And we're only talking about in the UK. We're not talking about around the world and what other countries would need these jobs and help develop that. These jobs are needed. And, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, some of these jobs didn't exist. And in another 10 years going forward, there will be probably double the amount of jobs you see. So again, there's always a demand for people to work within these roles, to be part of the team, to be part of the success of the team. And I know people that work with the England team and England under 21 squads, and they travel with the team. They are part of the team, and that's a great role to have. So that's my message to people. You know, really play, get the most from playing, and if you can be a pro, then you've reached the dream. But if not, you know, there's other jobs and other capacities, and you know, again, it's not just looking at the physical side as well. There's so many other jobs in sport. You know, from the law side to the business side. You know, I studied a business degree. I mentioned I wasn't good at finance. I don't really like math. So I knew that very school, but I still went to study business. I studied marketing and business. I started to look at business in a different ways because, you know, I always had good ideas and how to create things and how to make things better, services and products and stuff like that. You know, almost entrepreneurial. That's what my mind was always ticking towards. So studying business and marketing, which allows you to think more about that, allows you to kind of grow and look at the other ideas and what you can actually apply to yourself. So, you know, don't hold yourself back. You know, maybe there's a skill set that you possess. Maybe you're good at social media. I know a guy at West Ham, you know, I've done an internship for 6 weeks to do media. And he was, for every one post I was posting out, he's done about 10 posts. He knew the format. He was really digital with what he was doing, and they hired him. I didn't want the job, but they hired him. They took him on, and he was only 17. So it shows, you guys probably really good at social media. You guys are millennials. You're fast thinkers. So there's a demand just for skill sets that you have, let alone the passions you have also. And you may be able to apply this to many jobs that you see here on the board. But over 450,000 different jobs in sport, different types of job roles. That's huge. Okay, why go to UCFB? Because you want a job in a career in sport and to become employable. How are you going to do that? Well, yeah, you need to put a bit of the work in. So, what you see on the board is the kind of subject areas that we cover at UCFB. Marketing as one sector, PE coaching, business and law, and also, event management. So what we've done, we put the kind of possible jobs and the outcomes from the sector, and you can also see the degree that's affiliated to. So we do all of the degrees at Wembley. We do most of the degrees at the Etihad. So obviously Wembley being the closest to London to what we do, but we also have the same base and set up in the Etihad, home of Manchester City. So maybe you want to leave London, get away from the city, go try something new. Why not test yourself? If not, you can stay at home like I did and cycle to Wembley Stadium and go to uni, then cycle home back to Fulham. So easy done. But this is really exciting because a lot of these jobs are in demand, and a lot of our teachers at UCFB are not just teachers; they're from the industry. My previous marketing lecturer was from Barcelona Football Club. Another one of my lecturers from football law and governance, he worked at Coritiba and Fluminense in Brazil, and he's a major football team. Some of the media, when I've done a bit of marketing and media in my modules, one guy was from Formula One. So these guys, you're learning from people that are from the game, not just from people reading from the board, and you can pick their brains. And I heard a lot about networking as well, so massive, like in terms of networking, people skills. You want to work in sport, you want to work in some of the other jobs you've heard, you need to understand how to speak to people, how to look at people in the eye, how to listen, and we call it emotional intelligence. And you get that as you grow up, you get that through experience. And if you're willing just to stay at home and maybe you're attending today but then leave it and don't do nothing about it and Google everything, Google is not God. You need to go out and experience things, and that's how you learn about yourself. Because I always thought I'd be a good coach when I was 17. When I took my first session, I was pooing my pants, and now I know I can coach a good session, but you can't be hard on yourself. You always will learn, you always will get it wrong, but that's part of the journey. And allow the journey to be something that is a matter of choice, such as studying something. And what you see in the board is great options that can fire you straight into a career. We have graduates that have gone straight into job roles within sport, working at professional clubs and national teams straight away. And it only takes 3 years of studying something that you like to do. So you don't necessarily have to do it straight away. When you're 18, go to uni. It's not bad to get it done straight away, but you've been studying from the age of 5 to 8 years old, is quite consistent. Take a year out, go and travel, go and do some charity work, go and learn about yourself. Don't hang around. Go and test yourself in different environments out of your social bubble, and then come back to September. Am I working or am I studying? But you need to make a choice, because we're all adults now, and it's not going to fall out the sky. It's down to you to do it, to find it, and to own it. Okay, so always about experiences. What we see here is our learning model. It kind of shows a unique kind of pattern to what we do with students. It shows the kind of platform that they can grow. So the 3 elements here: what we teach, where we teach, and how we teach, is what we feel our students become the best they can be and become employable upon graduation. So you can see here what we teach is football. It's probably 80% of our operation. We've come from a football club. UCFB was founded in 2011 by Burnley Football Club. The co-director and chairman at the time thought of a great idea to educate young people in football. It started off as a football business uni, and a lot of people work in football but not educated about it. So maybe it creates bad ethics, and maybe there's not a good system of inclusion. Football and sports all about inclusion. So education in football is important. So that's where we've come from. We also teach sports. So a lot of people that go to UCFB don't want to work in football. I mentioned the subject groups: business, media, coaching, and events. You can do sports business, not football business. You can do sports media. You can do sports coaching. So we have people that want to work in boxing, athletics. We work with Surrey County Cricket. We work with the RFL. There's careers out there within those niches. So we just create different niches and different pathways that people can really be selective and say, no, that is for me. So it gives a wider choice into that niche, into that narrative. And also event management. If I didn't study marketing, I would have studied event management, because to me, event management is exciting. I worked with the FA for 2 years at events, and I was a fan engagement officer. And it's like, we're seeing like 90,000 people coming into the stadium, seeing concerts from like Pink, and seeing concerts from like Beyonce, and you're just watching how people enjoy themselves. But you're there working, but you've made that event your part of the tool to give people memories for life. You've created history as well. So why not manage a stadium? It doesn't even manage football stadiums. It could be a business environment. It could be an annual general meeting. It could be, I know someone that does it in the Caribbean on cruise ships and does it for 6 months in a year. And you could have your own festivals, your own gig, you know, just again, think outside the box. So really cool way to study and to get a career. Where we teach in Wembley Stadium. It's the heart of our campus. We also teach in the Etihad as well. You know, the boxes in Wembley, like kind of corporate boxes with the dark windows. Well, actually, they're not too dark, but there's 281 of them, and we operate probably about 50 of them on a day, Monday to Friday, from 8:30 until about 6 o'clock. So there's your classrooms. Your classrooms oversee the pitch. There's games rooms, there's classrooms, there's seminar rooms, lecture rooms, media rooms. The same media boxes, you wouldn't know they are there, but when Sky and BT use Wembley Stadium, there's boxes that they use to present, not at the moment because they got a big platform outside because there's no fans, but we use that. So we utilize the stadium not just to learn from, but to work in. And that's, you gotta understand, that's wicked, because, you know, if you're studying something and reading, but you can't practice it. I mean, for me personally, that's not engaging, and I'm not going to learn really quickly by reading. I need to go and do it, or see it and feel it, and have a tangible experience. And yeah, and that's what Wembley offers you, but in a professional environment, giving you opportunities and exposure as if you're already there, and that's second to none. It's almost like studying marine biology and having your institution or university in a submarine, so to speak. And then how we teach in a classroom, only 8 to 10 hours a week. It's nothing, you know, Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, your academic days. So 8 to 10 hours a week. I used to study 20 hours a week when I was in school. So that's what you do for your academic side. Away from that, you have guest speakers. So we have 50 guest speakers a year. So it could be an England manager. So Gareth Southgate is coming twice. It could be a Premier League manager. It could be an ex-player. And we had Roy Keane and Alan Shearer come down recently. It can be an Olympian. It could be like we had Mesut Ozil's agent come in. So a lot of people to come and network with that you can connect to, and also work experience. So internships and work experience is paramount, because, you know, if you're going to study something, it's better that you go and practice it. And I was lucky because when I was at UCFB, and like every student, you're emailed your work experience. You don't need to call clubs or the FA organizations. You're emailed every week. 5 opportunities here, 2 here. It's not like the 2-week work experience you got when you're in year 10. It's the full deal, the 9-week, 12-week, 16-week interns, all based around your academic studies, but all to do with what you're studying, what you're trying to become. So, you know, I was lucky in my first year. I worked for the FA. I got a job at QPR. I worked at TalkSport as well. My second year, I worked with UEFA. I worked with Sweden under 17s and built a massive CV, but a massive network as well. And also worked with the Jason Roberts Foundation, which is really cool.
Jason,
so
I'm going to jump in there only because we are so pressed for time. I've got a couple of questions for you, but what we're going to do is I'll put them to you and we'll have to answer them in the private chat. Loved your passion, loved hearing all about UCFB. As you say, you do work with us, the Jason Roberts Foundation, and we've actually got a Jason Roberts Foundation scholarship, which is available to people for the next school year. So yeah, pop your questions in the comments. Jason, don't go anywhere. I'm going to ask you to reply in the comments, and we'll move on to our next guest, if that's okay. Thank you so much.
No worries at all.
So next up, we have got Deepak Chavda. Deepak is from St George Property Developers. Now, I'm sure even if you don't know the name, you'll be able to picture the sign. You'll always see them around town. The St George logo, it's really clear. And Deepak is the Employment Strategy Manager and has been with St George Developers for over 6 years. Deepak, over to you.
Thanks, Joanna. Thanks for inviting me to this event. Hopefully the information I give today will be really useful. I'm going to start off with a bit of a presentation, which will give you a bit of an overview about Berkeley Group, about St George. I'm also going to talk about our development, which is in Brent. And following that, I'm going to touch on how you can access careers in construction and what sort of roles and opportunities there are. So to start off, I'm just going to start off with this presentation. So introducing Berkeley Group. I was going to show a short video, but I'll probably cover most of the stuff during this presentation. So Berkeley Group, as you know, we're a construction developer. We build mixed-use residential, commercial developments. We create parks and public spaces with great facilities where people love to live, and you know, it benefits the communities. Berkeley Group is being
operating for over 40 years now. Just to give you a bit of an idea of the timeline, Berkeley was established in 1976, back in Weybridge in Surrey in a small office. In 1982, St George, which is the division I work for, was formed in partnership with a commercial developer. Later on in 1985, Berkeley went on to the London Stock Exchange, so we are a FTSE company. In 1996, St James, which is a different operating division, still do construction, but it's a different operating division, was formed as part of a joint venture with Thames Water. In 2006, St Edward's was established. Again, this was a joint venture between Berkeley and Prudential. In 2008, we won a number of awards and accolades. In 2009, we started two of our biggest regeneration developments, Woodbury Downs and Kidbrook Village. In 2011, Berkeley Foundation, which is our charitable arm, was set up. This is predominantly based around supporting young people and their communities across London and the southeast of England, with employability skills and doing a lot of reach out work, supporting homeless charities. That's the kind of stuff that Berkeley Foundation get involved in. In 2014, we had St William's, which was established, another joint venture with National Grid. By 2015, we delivered over 3,000 homes. We'd supported in the region of 26,000 jobs, and that's a combination of sort of apprenticeships and jobs, which were all sort of newly created as part of these developments. In 2016, we launched St Joseph's, which is another operating division predominantly based in West Midlands. They've got a couple of sites in Birmingham at the moment. And in 2018, Berkeley Group was voted the second most admired company in the UK. So hopefully it gives you a bit of a perspective in terms of St George, Berkeley Group, and the various operating divisions we've got within that group. Just to give you some stats, Berkeley Group have got 99 sites in their land holdings. It says 69 currently under construction. That has actually creeped up. I think we've got about 72, 73 which are in construction at the moment. Within those developments, we've got 47,000 cycle spaces which are being incorporated. We've got 3,800 electric car charging points being incorporated, especially with the changes with the government initiatives, pushing everything to sort of cleaner energy, clean air, sorry, and pushing sort of electric vehicles. And that's going to be a key component. We've got 72% of completed homes to be supplied with low carbon and renewable energy. We've got 87% of our developments under construction generated regenerating brownfield land, which is land which was previously used, might have been contaminated, which is being put back into use again. And 94% of our completed homes have dedicated internal recycling facilities. So there's a massive push towards sort of environmentally friendly construction, making the homes very economically, environmentally friendly as well. Now the next two slides just provide a bit more of an overview about the land that we hold and the land that we're developing at the moment as Berkeley Group. So within London, the blue dots represent the sites which are under construction at the moment, and the green dots represent the ones that are going into construction or will be going into construction in the coming months or years. And the next slide represents our land bank outside of London. So again, the blue dots show what's under construction and the green dots show the future sites which will be going into construction. So as Berkeley Group, we do have a lot of developments, a lot of sites, and a lot of sites that are going to be sort of starting construction, in the near future. So I'm just moving on to introducing St George, which is the operating division I work for. St George is a specialist developer specialising in large mixed-use urban regeneration projects. We have currently got 11 current live sites, which are looking to deliver about 12,830 homes, 1 million square foot of commercial space, which is going to be taken up by various businesses, and 49 acres of open space, which, a lot of it is going to be green space. A few of our developments, just to show you. So we've got one Blackfriars, which is what we built in Southwark. If you could ever go to sort of get out at one Blackfriars station and walk over the bridge, you'll see the one Blackfriars building right there. We've got London Dock, which is currently under construction, which is in Tower Hamlets. We've got Ealing Filmworks, which is currently under construction. We've got Battersea Reach, which is on the River Thames as well, just on the other side of Wandsworth Bridge. We've got Fulham Reach, again on the River Thames, just by Hammersmith and Fulham. And we've got Dickens Yard, which is another project which recently completed. Now, Grand Union is our project which we're developing in Brent. It's located just behind the Ace Caff, down Beresford Avenue, just off the North Circular. So where you see the large sort of yellow outline, that's the actual site that we've acquired, and where Grand Union's based. The site previously was the former Northfields industrial estate. There was a number of low quality industrial, commercial and warehouse buildings which are located in that space, and none of it was really accessible by the local community. It was only sort of by the businesses or the people that had to be there. So, you know, very closed off. Our vision, what you'll see in the two slides there, is what we aim to develop and what Grand Union will potentially look like. So, you know, it's going to be, you know, it's going to transform the whole landscape. It's going to create beautiful homes. It's going to open up the canal side. It's going to create a stunning new landscape for the residents and the local community. We're going to be bringing in businesses within the commercial floor spaces that we've got down there, and basically make it a vibrant, you know, really vibrant hub within Alperton that both benefit the new residents as well as the existing community that's there. The development itself, we're going to be on site there for over 20 years. The development is going to be built in 6 phases. The build program is going to last around 15 years. We can have 11 acres of open green space, over 3,000 new homes. We're aiming to support over 200 apprenticeships on that development. We're going to have, you know, the canal and riverside opened up to the public and residents. We're going to have 5,000 square foot of a 5,000 square foot new community centre, which the local community down there can access. We're going to have 40,000 square foot of commercial space where the businesses can go into, and, you know, hopefully we're going to create, well, we are going to create over 200,000 square foot of employment space, which is new employment space for, you know, which could be accessed by local businesses and local residents. So, you know, a massive improvement to the wider area. This next slide just gives you a bit of an overview of provides a bird's eye view of what the site is and what it looks like. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a faint blue line which goes around the first phase of the development. So if you ever go past, you know, down Beresford Avenue, past Ace Caff, you'll see that phase 1, which is under construction at the moment. So you'll see the buildings and everything going up. So once it's done, hopefully that gives you a bit of a sort of perspective in terms of what the whole site's going to look like. I think what I want to move on to now is, you know, talk a little bit more about construction careers. So I'm just going to sort of stop this presentation and move on to another screen. And while I'm doing that, I'll just give you a bit of a view. I mean, even with myself, I mean, my job title is Employment Strategy Manager for St George, but actually, I mean, I started off in construction as a labourer because my dad's a bricklayer by trade. And let me just, so, okay. So yeah, hopefully you can see the Go Construct website. So yeah, like I was saying, my dad's a bricklayer by trade. I started off doing a lot of the sort of labouring, hod carrying, and I did sort of bounce from job to job. You know, done a lot of sales, done a lot of retail stuff, worked in car sales, car finance, but just couldn't find a niche. And you know, as the earlier presenter said, Jason said, you know, it's key to find something that you know you're going to love and enjoy, so you don't feel like you're going to work. And to be honest, I fell back into construction, and yes, it was hard work, you know, doing all the labouring and the hard graft and the early mornings and late finishes. But you know, as it stands now, you know, I'm the employment strategy manager for working for St George, which is a massive firm. I look after all our contractual requirements across all of the St George developments, which is a bit of a niche in itself. I don't have, I've never been university. I just about got my basic GCSEs. I failed my A-levels. So, you know, the whole reason why I got to where I got to is through some of the things that have been said already within this presentation. It's you know, applying yourself, doing the best you can, you know, building up that network, and you know, actually delivering. If you're sort of delivery focused, making sure you do what you're supposed to do to the best of your ability, and people will see that and people will sort of support that, and the rest of it will fall into place, you know. But it's what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So I'm just going to move on to this Go Construct website. It's a really useful resource and tool that anyone can access. Any of you guys can go onto Google and just sort of punch in Go Construct, and it will give you a whole host of information related to the construction industry. The first bit I want to sort of touch on is just some of these quotes down here. What's it like to work in construction? The first quote there says, construction is fun, it's fast-paced, it's challenging and a rewarding career. You'll meet various people of all levels of businesses, and with that comes amazing opportunities, and that's so true. You know, again, the focus being on networking, doing what you're supposed to do, and showing that, you know, you're willing to learn and progress. The second quote, you know, working in construction is a very exciting and rewarding career to go into. You get to work with a great variety of people to create something that will benefit society. And that's so true. Construction is all about, you know, building communities, building homes. And, you know, it's really when people move in and start, you see, you know, what you've developed, you get a real appreciation for it. It's really good. So, you know, hopefully those quotes, which you can sort of go onto the website and have a look at, you know, provide you a bit of an overview. Now, there's a number of routes and pathways you can take to getting into construction. So I'm just going to touch on these briefly. So again, you're probably familiar with apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are made up of obviously working on site and then having that day release to attend college, or it could be done where you work on site for a month and then you get a block release, which is a week release to go to your training centre to do the training. Apprenticeships could take anywhere between 1 to 5 years, depending on what you're doing. Key things with apprenticeships is, you know, you still need to, you know, even if you're doing a trade, you still need to have your maths and English. So you still need your GCSEs. If you don't have your GCSEs, I would encourage you to try and get your functional skills. A more recent introduction is T-levels. Now, T-levels are, it's a 2-year course. It's a technical qualification. Once you complete your GCSEs, if you don't want to progress onto A-levels, you know, you've got these T-levels which have been introduced, which is, again, in a college setting, they'll be linked up with 45 hours being spent within an industry placement. So that's another option you could look at. You've got the traditional routes, which is going university, doing a degree in construction-related course, and then, you know, Berkeley Group, like ourselves, and some of the other larger developers, they've all got graduate schemes. So obviously when you're coming to an end of your qualification, or you've got about a year left, it's always good to go on the website, look at the various construction developers and doing an application as part of the grad scheme. You know, if you're successful, you still have to go through interview, screening process, and then obviously a selection process. The other option is, you know, you're attending college at the moment or going to a training provider, you're doing construction related qualification. Really, you want to be looking to get yourself into a job within the field that you're studying, and, you know, working towards your MVQ qualification, or you know, colleges can normally switch that and you can do your apprenticeship side of it, and that will provide you with the opportunity to get the diploma as well as the practical experience needed within a specific trade or construction field. The other two, you've got traineeships, which is a government initiative. It's a government funded scheme. So again, if you meet the criteria and you're eligible, some training providers deliver traineeships, which is, you know, where you do a certain period within the classroom where they support you with your CV, employability workshops. And then there's another element of it, which is to do with the work experience. So combined, that will form a part of your traineeship. And that's a really good way to try and enter the industry and also build up your skills to be more job ready, basically. Again, if you've already sort of doing a course, or, you know, want to get into construction and you know what sort of field you want to get into, or you know, even if you're not too sure what field you want to get into, but you know, you've got a bit of an inkling as to what you want to try, work experience is a great route. A lot of people that I support that come into opportunities generally tend to do work experience because it provides them with the opportunity to sort of find out, is this role right for me? Is the team or the contractor that I'm working with right for me? Is this a career that I want to pursue? You know, it gives you an opportunity to sort of assess all that before you decide to commit to doing a further qualification or actually sort of pursuing a career in construction. Because it is about, you know, waking up early, start being on site by about 7:30 in the morning, starting work at 8. You know, you're grafting all day. but there is a long-term career in it. And like I said, you know, you can start off at an entry-level position within construction, and you can easily work your way up to, you know, a site supervisory role, a management role. You could potentially move into a different field. So you could study, go into architecture, you could go into health and safety, you could go to site management. There's a whole host and array of job opportunities you can actually go into. So what, you know, I can't cover all of them today, but what I would definitely recommend is, you know, if you are interested in construction, definitely have a look at the Go Construct website. It's got, you know, all the information you need. Alternatively, you know, the next speaker that's going to be coming along, Brent Works, we work very closely with them. So again, you know, you could speak to the advisor down there. Alternatively, you know, you could speak to someone at Jason Roberts Foundation. And obviously, if you've got any questions, I'll try and answer them now. But if you do have questions at a later date, by all means do, you know, let them know and they can contact me and, you know, we could take it from there. So hopefully that's given you a nice overview of who we are and what we do. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. That was brilliant. And I know it was quite a sort of rush through a vast area. So the Go Construct website would be really useful. A quick one, just Anne-Marie's popped in the chat and said there's not a lot of women in construction. And actually, I noticed two of your quotes were both from females, actually, which I thought was quite interesting. But construction is not known as a very female-friendly industry or traditionally a female industry. What are you doing about this?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, in terms of us as a developer, as in terms of our team within St. George, a lot of our project teams and our head office teams, we've got a balance probably 50-50. I mean, to be honest, some of the developments, some of the projects are actually more women than there are men. So I think that's a misconception now, really. I mean, from my personal perspective, and when it comes down to, obviously, we buy the land, we're the management firm. So, you know, we've got a lot of individuals coming through, and, you know, we have got a nice balance. But when it comes down to sort of the construction trade roles, yes, they've always predominantly been sort of male driven. Having said that, I've, you know, over 6 years I've been working with St. George, I've supported women, you know, worked closely with women in construction. I've supported a number of women coming into trade related opportunities. So there's nothing stopping women from coming into these opportunities. The opportunities are there. All the individuals, you know, the contractors and even ourselves, you know, want to see is that someone who's driven, someone who's willing to turn up on time, someone who wants to learn about the trade or the skill and progress. And that's what we want. So, you know, if you are interested, don't ever hold yourself back, you know, go forward, do apply. And just to give you a more recent example, I've recently had another lady I've placed with one of our dry lining contractors, and she's done 2-week placement with them, and they actually took her on as of Monday. So she started with them on Monday. So, you know, there are opportunities. Like I said, don't hold back.
Amazing. So yeah, probably perceptional, Anne-Marie. It's definitely changing. Go Construct website. Thank you so much, Deepak. There's a couple of questions that have popped in as well, so I'll get you to answer those in a minute. So, final guest. I know we're running over slightly, but I think you'll agree everyone's been so interesting. We didn't want to rush it through. So let me introduce Dee Kumar, who works for Brent Works. Dee, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm the last one, so they've saved the best for last, hopefully, here. So I'm going to crack on and talk about vacancies, live vacancies that we have with Brent Works, who we are and what we've got for you. So let me just share the presentation. Oh, okay. So hopefully you can all see that. So Brent Works is an employment service, and we support local people into local opportunities. Myself, I'm Dee. I look after all the construction opportunities within Brent, and I do have a team. They have a range of different roles. That's admin, hospitality. We've got care. We look after engineering roles, like things like, fiber optics. We have roles within Brent Council, so a host of different roles. So what we do is we're like a recruitment agency, but we work with the council. So we support we are free of charge, and we support local people into work and apprenticeship opportunities. What we do is we provide you with one-to-one advice and guidance towards finding work, and we connect you with jobs within Brent and across London. The general process would be that you would apply for a vacancy that you see on our website. Once we've received your application, if your application meets the essential criteria of the role, we will then call you. We'll have a telephone conversation with you to ask you about why you applied for this role and why you think you're suitable for the role. If obviously with COVID right now, we can't do group assessments, but we will have the assessment with you over the telephone at the moment. And then if you're successful with us, we will then submit your CV to the employer. Okay. The current opportunities that we have now, these opportunities change every week. So if you don't see something that you're interested in right now, please check back because they change all the time. So, you know, at the moment we're looking for a detective that's with, you know, the Met Police. We've got early years assistant, experienced car mechanic, a home care support worker, a resident associate, so that's working for Quintain, working on their TP. So they've got all the apartments that you see building up. There's a company called TP that's part of Quintain that actually look after all the, you know, basically it's like a resident liaison type of person. So finding people to live in those apartments essentially. So once the build happens, after that you need to find people to live in those apartments. So that role is for a resident associate, and a lot of them don't need experience. I know this particular position doesn't need experience. Also, we have apprenticeship opportunities. So at the moment, they're recruiting for a logistic apprentice, an office administration apprentice, and a PR and communications apprentice. So in regards to construction, I specifically look after all the construction opportunities within Brent. I work closely with St. George and DPAC, but as well as St. George, there are so many different contractors who are building in Brent right now. And a lot of these contractors have an obligation to provide a certain number of those opportunities to Brent residents. Okay, so I will work with those contractors and make sure that I can help them fill those vacancies with local people. So construction is one of the fastest growing industries at the moment, okay, followed by care. There is a lot of work available in construction, whether that's actual work or whether that's apprenticeship opportunities. I know you were talking about women in construction. I just placed a female college leaver as a labourer onto a weights site in Wembley Park. Okay, and she's a labourer. She wants to become a plumber, but sometimes you've got to start from the bottom and work your way up. So, you know, she was a female. What I do also want to say is, if you want to work in construction, you're not necessarily need to be doing the manual work if you don't want to. There are so many other things that you could do in construction, and that could be admin, that can be site management, health and safety, quality, a quantity surveyor. So there's so many different things that you can do in construction. It doesn't have to be the manual physical side, but if you do want to do that, then that opportunity is there for you. What I will say is, if you're new to construction and you want to get in, regardless of whether you're male or female, I do suggest getting a CSCS card. Okay, I will provide some more details on the next screen, but a CSCS card is something that you need to be able to work on site. Okay, if you're new, the kind of route that you could follow is get your CSCS card and then allow us to help you find a role such as a labourer or a site cleaner. That will help you get some site experience. Okay, once you have that, you can apply for an apprenticeship. Now, you can apply for an apprenticeship before you have your CSCS card, because some jobs do allow you to get your CSCS card, and they'll help you get that and before you start the actual job. But if you have the card, it just means that you can apply for more vacancies. Okay, and it means that you can start a lot quicker as well. So get your CSCS card, do some labouring for a while, then you can start looking at what apprenticeship you want to do. Now, the Go Construct website that Deepak mentioned is a really good website. Sometimes I get people who come to me and say, I don't really mind what I want to do. But the thing is you need to have an idea what trade you want to learn in construction. Do you want to do bricklaying? Do you want to do dry lining? Do you want to do plumbing, electrical, painting and decorating, carpentry? There is so much that you could do, and it is a good idea for you to have at least a first choice or a second choice and done some research on that trade. Okay. Or it could be that after labouring, you don't really want to do an apprenticeship because you don't want to study and work at the same time. You just want to work, and you can follow that path as well. Now, there currently is a free 3-week online CSCS training provided by Sidori, and that's every Monday, and it's online, so you don't need to leave your home. Okay, so it's not through us, Brent Works, but there are the details here. So if you take down the telephone number and the email address there for Stuart Jones, you can contact Stuart directly and get yourself booked onto a course every Monday. It's a 3-week online course, and you can get your CSCS card that way. They help you with the free CSCS test, and you get the card. You do need to be age 18 plus and on universal credit, ESA or income support, and you do need to have been a UK resident for 3 years minimum. But you can contact Stuart for more information if you need it. Do let me know if you need that information, and I can get that typed in the question box for you as well, so you have that. So what I do suggest you do is you email us or you go on our website, okay, and you register with us. Once you register with us, you will get our weekly vacancy alerts in your inbox. So every week you'll get a list of all the current vacancies that we got, and you can apply for them as and when you see something relevant. Like I said, it's not just construction that we do a whole host of different things, and we cover a whole host of different vacancies. You know, we're currently looking at working with the NHS with some of their vacancies. We work closely, you know, with, like I said, the Met Police. You know, we get different things coming in all the time. So I really hope that we can help you. If you've got any questions or you prefer to call us, you can even call us directly and talk about how we can support you into work. I hope that helps. Let me just stop sharing this.
Dee, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And just some really practical advice, which was brilliant. And we'll pop the details of that free CS training in the comments box. So thank you so much. And thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. I know that time's precious, but actually so are you. And job fulfillment and career is important. So I think if you can, like I said to you, open mind, take some time to reflect on what you've heard from our amazing guests. Thank you, Sergeant Siobhan, Buglarka, Jason, Deepak and Dee. You've all been brilliant giving up your time, and we will make sure that we share all your content across our social channels and website for the next week. If you missed anything and would like further information, get in touch via the Jason Roberts Foundation. We're on the socials, as I said. Do come and get involved in your community and our community activities as soon as it is safe to do so. We're running a lot of online activities at the moment, so keep in touch, take care. Just want to say thank you to Brent Council and the Mayor of Brent for your continued support. Have a good evening, everybody, and thank you for your time.